If you've been looking for a video on how to install cabinets or maybe just a little bit of inspiration to upgrading your existing pantry, then check out this video. We're going to go into a lot of detail on this, from us removing the existing cabinets to installing all the new stuff, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal video. We've already got all the cabinets built and we're just really getting everything ready to load up. I thought I'd go ahead and set some of these drawers just to make it a little bit easier for transport. So that's what I'm doing right here. The goal for this job was to get everything pre-built and then do a complete uninstall and install in one day, because they have all the original stuff already there and we need to remove it, which is what you're going to see right here. We've got to take all this out and then put all the new stuff in. We're going to try to do it in one day. Now, if you're thinking, hey, those cabinets don't look that bad, why are they taking these out? The goal for them was to maximize this space. They had a fridge that they wanted to put in here, and they actually have a main pantry already, so I guess this is more like a butler pantry. So we wanted to remove all this since we were going to have to create a space for the fridge anyways, and then we just designed these L-shaped cabinets that you're going to see us install here in just a minute. This countertop was definitely giving me some fits, but I thought if I could get it out in one piece that I could perhaps maybe use it in my own shop since they were going to throw it out. So that's what I'm doing here. It was like glued into the stretchers on the cabinets and just kind of a pain in the ass, but with a little bit of elbow grease, we got it out. So now that we got all the cabinets out, the next step was just to clean up the edge of the flooring here, because the fridge is going to go there, and we did have to add like a 2x2 section of flooring. And then I generally like to pull all the baseboards before I put in the new cabinets. So I usually like to set my upper cabinets first. Right here, I'm just popping my line to give me a guide where we're going to place them. We're going to loosely anchor our corner cabinet first and then work our way out. The reason I say loosely anchor is that I like to go ahead and get it set up, and then we're going to screw the face trims together on the corresponding cabinets, and then we'll go ahead and set our anchor screws. We're using a 3.5-inch crown on these cabinets, so we wanted to gap the top of the cabinets from the ceiling at about 2.5 inches. All right, so we're getting ready to install the last upper cabinet. I'm using some quick release clamps to clamp the face trims together while I screw them in. I have some specialty clamps that are made for this, but they're a little bit of a pain to use, and these quick release clamps are just as efficient. For the cabinet doors, we did a 1/2-inch overlay soft close European hinge. Normally, I don't put the cabinet doors on before I trim things out. I'm not really sure exactly why I did this, but generally I would suggest doing your crown and scribe molding first, just because the doors are going to be in the way when you go to caulk all that in. But that being said, here we are, and we're going ahead and cutting our crown so we can get that installed. When I'm joining multiple pieces together like this, I always kind of like to do a dry fit, so if anything's off even just a little bit, I can go ahead and trim it before I start tacking on the first piece. If you're wondering why this scribe molding is a different color, it was an extra piece from another project I did, and I forgot to paint those before I came today, but I figured I'd just go ahead and brush it in once I got everything done. Here I am caulking everything in. I wanted to go ahead and do this before I started attacking the lower cabinets. That way the caulk would have time to dry, and then I could do some touch-up paint once we got to that point. And here's my boy setting some shelf pins and go ahead and throwing in our adjustable shelves. So right here we had to get a little creative. I did some decorative toe kicks on the new cabinets, and the old setup didn't have cabinets on the left side here, so I'm having to cut the flooring out to fit the new cabinets that I'm going to be putting in. And how I did this was actually brought in the new cabinets and traced it along the floor where I needed to cut it out, and then I used variation of my skill saw and oscillating tool to cut it out to fit. And I'm happy to report that it fit like a glove. We also got pretty lucky when we went to level everything. There was very little shims actually needed for this. Then once we got everything leveled and set, the next thing to do was go ahead and test fit the drawers, make sure we're all good there. For the countertops, we went ahead and went with some chevron pattern butcher block tops. We got everything cut right here, and I'm just using a little wood glue to kind of glue the seam together before we screw everything down. So you could probably use some adhesive to glue these down to the cabinets, but the way I cut them is usually a nice snug fit, and then I use some 1¼ inch screws to screw in through the bottom of the stretchers on the top of the cabinets. So once you got it all screwed in, it's pretty solid. Now we're going to throw on these last 2 cabinet doors, and then we're ready for scribe molding for the base cabinets. But don't forget your bumper pads. So for my caulk, I've been using Sherwin-Williams Shermax. I've had really good luck with this. Nothing worse than finishing a really beautiful project and then 3 weeks later the trim's cracking because the caulk you used sucked. Once I get my bead run, I always like to have a damp cloth nearby, so when I go to wipe it down, I can get me a nice, crisp, clean edge along the countertop. All right, now that we're in the home stretch, last thing to do is drill the holes for all the hardware, which is what I'm doing right here. We're going to get that slapped in and show you all how everything turned out. All right, so that wraps things up. I'm going to leave y'all with a little before and after right here. If y'all enjoyed the video and you have any questions, just leave some comments below. I will personally respond to them. And thanks for watching.